Molly had never been outside alone before. But tonight, she was completely lost. Every sound, every shadow felt unfamiliar.
Where are you, Molly?
And somewhere in the neighborhood, she couldn't find her way home. Just a few hours earlier, Molly's biggest problem was defeating her favorite toy. Most afternoons were quiet like this. Safe, predictable. She liked it that way. But outside, the neighborhood was always moving. And sometimes, her curiosity was stronger than her caution. All it took was one moment. At first, it still felt like a game. The butterfly kept drifting farther, and Molly kept following. Every time she stopped, her curiosity pulled her forward again. By then, home was already farther away than Molly realized. By now, the butterfly was gone. But Molly kept walking anyway. The streets no longer smelled familiar. Unlike dogs, cats don't always remember the way home once their surroundings start changing. And with the rain clouds rolling in, those familiar scents were slowly disappearing. For the first time that afternoon, Molly stopped knowing where home was. Molly tried another street, then another. But the neighborhood no longer made sense. Every house, every road started looking the same. And the rain wasn't helping. Cats rely heavily on familiar scents to recognize their surroundings. But with the rain washing those scents away, Molly could no longer tell where home was. So eventually, she stopped beneath the nearest car and closed her eyes. The rain kept getting heavier, and the neighborhood no longer felt safe. Every passing sound felt too close, too loud, too unfamiliar. At one point, a motorcycle nearly rushed past Molly in the rain. The splash of water, the headlights, the sudden horn made her run for cover again. Molly didn't know where to go anymore, so she kept hiding wherever she could, trying not to be seen, trying not to be noticed. And somewhere beneath the rain, she quietly waited for things to feel safe again. Back at home, Agni had already realized Molly was gone, so she went out to look for her.
Molly?
Street after street, corners after corners, checking every place a frightened cat might hide. Under parked cars, beneath narrow shelters, anywhere dry enough to feel safe. And somewhere farther down the neighborhood, Molly heard something familiar.
Molly?
A voice, softly calling through the rain.
Molly? Molly, where are you?
Finally, Agni saw her, hidden quietly beneath the small shelter, cold, soaked, and still waiting for somewhere safe to return to.
Molly.
For a brief moment, Molly just stared back, and then she slowly stepped out into the rain, not toward the street anymore, but toward home. Agni quickly wrapped her safely in her arms, holding her close beneath the umbrella, as they finally walked back together through the quiet neighborhood. And finally, Molly was home. That night, she ate the same kibble she used to ignore. And for the first time in hours, she could finally rest, right beside the person who never stopped looking for her.